Hey, I'm Rob for JestaThaRogue.com and I played Peaks, which is from Sam Gray and Tangerine Games and is coming to Kickstarter soon. Or at least in a couple of weeks, something like that, I don't know the date. So what is Peaks? Peaks is a medium weight Euro about mountain climbing, as you can guess from the name and the image on the cover of the box. And because it is a medium weight Euro, I'm not going to go into every single rule, I'm just going to give you a brief overview to get the idea of how the game plays, so you can see whether it's a game you want to back and all that good stuff. So on your turn, basically, you're going to take one of three actions. The first one is to rest. And this allows you to travel to any continent, so you move your little meeple to a continent and you gain energy equal to the value of the die, and that die can be upgraded. The second action is to prepare, so you gain a mountain card. There's some face up and there's the deck from face down you can draw from to get a mountain card into your hand, and then you gain an amount of gear as shown on the die. Again, that die can be upgraded. And the third action is the most complicated of them all, is to climb. So you choose one of the mountains from your hand, and each mountain comes with 2 rewards, and you choose one set of rewards, and then you can invite other players to join you on this climb. And you pay an amount of energy needed by that mountain, you pay any equipment required if the mountain requirements are for some equipment, and you gain the reward as shown on the card. And if anybody helps you, they get the other rewards, the rewards that you didn't take. Anyone who came on that climb with you, not only do you collectively pay less energy in order to do that climb because you're helping each other, so it spends less energy. Problem shared is a problem halved and all that. But they also gain the rewards for climbing that mountain that you didn't take. And those rewards are things like increasing your stamina, which helps you when you're regaining your energy. You can get these gold cards that give you endgame scoring opportunities. And you can get these other sort of climbers that you can use to help you on future climbs with special requirements for different things that you need to climb the mountain. I'll get into some of that later. But when you are looking at climbing a mountain, something important is you need to have enough experience, which means you need to have moved enough up the experience tracker in order for you to have the experience to climb that mountain. You can't just go straight to Mount Everest and get loads of points, because that's a hard mountain to climb. You need to obviously climb some other mountains to build your experience before you go there, and some of them as well require you to roll a danger die. And if you're not quite experienced enough, you have to roll the danger die more to make up the difference between your level of experience and the level of experience required to climb the mountain. And for every failure, or if you just get one failure, you start to lose rewards from that mountain. So you're going to get less for climbing it. And just as a note as well, each of these 3 abilities upgrades as the game goes on. So while here you're just, for example, the rest action has you move to any continent, then you gain energy. As you go on, you're going to go to move to any continent, do this, do that, and then gain energy. So there's going to be more things you can do as you upgrade these through the game. Well, how do you win? Well, one of the rewards you can get from climbing a mountain is to place flags on the board. And at the end of the game, when one player runs out of flags, you're going to look in each continent, see who's got the most flags on the continent. For each player that's got the most flags in a continent, they'll add another flag to the board. You gain 2 flags if you've got a flag, or maybe if you've got 2 flags in every continent. It says if you've got 1 flag in every continent on the board, but we played it with the designer. He said if you've got 2 flags in every continent, you get a bonus 2 flags. You also get 1 flag if you've climbed more mountains than your neighbour. So when you climb a mountain, it goes into your little discard pile, and you count those cards up at the end of the game. If you've climbed more mountains than your neighbours, you'll gain a flag for each player you've climbed more mountains than. And whoever's got the most flags out is the winner. So what are the main mechanisms? Well, you've got area control for the flags in the different continents. You need to look at where other people are going, what they're doing, try and get the mountains that are going to give you flags and try and get them placed. You get some flags on the board. There's a bit of push your luck with the mountain climbing, especially if you need to roll that danger die, and that can be mitigated by having people come and help you, because when people also come and climb with you, you gain benefit from their experience as well. So you'll have a combined experience which will help you climb bigger mountains between you, which is another way of helping each other is good. But you've also got those helper cards that you can draft that can help you out climbing some of the more tough mountains, or at least a mountain that's beyond your current capabilities going solo. And there's also set collection with the mountains. Some of those endgame cards, as you can see here, will have a set collection element to them. And what about the theme? Well, the theme is mountain climbing. There's lots of mountains in this game. All the mountains are there, as far as I'm aware. Every single mountain in the world. It's got all the gear that you need to climb mountains that you need to try and collect. You need less energy when you're sharing climbing with a mountain. You need the experience to be able to climb a mountain. Like, for example, if you climb Mount Snowdon, you just need a nice comfy pair of shoes and a coat. And if you're climbing K2, I'm guessing you need probably a bit of a bigger coat and at bare minimum a sandwich or something to keep you going, because that one's much more difficult. But that's sort of how the game plays out. You can tell the difference between the easier mountains to climb in the real world base, those mountains that suddenly need oxygen tanks and crampons and ropes and all sorts, and you need a lot of energy, but you get a lot of points for them, and probably some good Instagram pictures as well. So what is setup like in this game? It is very simple. You shuffle the A deck of mountains, which has those easier mountains, and the B deck of mountains, which has the more experienced ones. You shuffle the other decks of cards as well, the gold cards and the helper cards, and then you just set your player board up by putting a few cubes on it, and you're good to go. Setup is very quick, which is always very good. Let's take a look at the components and artwork. Obviously playing with a prototype here. There was paper covered over. There's some other things as well. There's some symbols on the board that are already being planned to be updated. There's some dual layering of the board that didn't need to be there. There was all sorts, but there is dual layer boards, which is very good. I always like to see that in a game, especially when you need your board to hold your cubes in place. The score token was a flag, but it's not the flag you need to win the game. So that did confuse me at the beginning of the game when it says, oh, if you do this, you gain a flag, but that's not to gain experience. That is to put a flag on the board. And the symbol to gain experience looks nothing like the token you're moving on the experience tracker. It took me a few rounds to go, oh, I see, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Well, hopefully that'll all be sorted out before the game is finished. And the art is really nice. It has a very, I can't describe it any other way than it has a very outdoorsy feel, which is what you want from a game about mountain climbing in nature. For easy teaching, this is fairly straightforward. One of the good things about it is because you've got these 3 actions, all you can do is the 3 actions in the game. You can either rest, you can prepare, you can climb. That is it. But each of those different actions will escalate as the game goes on, along with the difficulty of the mountains, which means the difficulty of the game increases as players get used to playing the game, which is very nice. If you're playing with people who maybe aren't used to playing a game that is a Euro or a game that is even a medium weight Euro, this is a great game for them to get involved and learn step by step as the game goes on, which is very nice. And also, only cards in hand that are hidden. When you've got mounted cards, I said earlier about taking them into your hand, they are face up so everybody can see what mounted cards you've got. The only ones that are hidden are your own personal little gold cards. So that's the only hidden information. If you need people to help you out with that, then I'm sure you can ask somebody at the table, but apart from that, everything else is open information. So it should be a very easy teach. As for similar games, now there are quite a few climbing games. Most of them revolve around climbing a mountain and trying to survive. That's pretty much the game. There isn't any that I'm aware of where you're going around the world and trying to climb lots of different mountains, lots of different real world mountains anyway. So for this, I'm just going to say K2. It's the only mountain climbing game I've played, so it's the only one I can reference. But that's all about trying to survive this one climb and trying to get to the top of K2. It's nothing to do with the amount of realism and world trekking that comes with peaks. So what do I think of the game? Let's have a look at the positives. Well, obviously it's very thematic. As far as I'm aware, this is all mountain climbing stuff. You need energy, you need equipment, you need experience, you need people to help you. It's something I'm never going to do, so I'll never find out. I'm never going to climb a mountain that involves me wearing anything other than a comfy pair of shoes and a big jacket. But the game itself does seem thematic based on the limited knowledge I have about real world mountain climbing. Turns are quick, especially if you rest. You do your thing and you move your energy. That's your turn done. If you prepare, again, you do your thing. You draw a mountain card, you reset the row of available mountain cards. That's your turn done. Even when you're climbing, which is the most complicated of the 3, I say complicated, there's still not much to it. Where you say, I'm going to climb this mountain, does anyone want to help? Yes, okay, I'm going to gain this reward, I'm going to spend this energy, I'm going to gain these rewards, that's my turn done, your go. So turns are very quick and the game clips along at a really nice pace. And one thing I did really like is the gold card. So here's the gold card, you see at the bottom it has an ability. So if you draw a gold card that you don't need, or you don't want, or you're not going to gain anything from it because you're not going to gain any flags from completing the goal, which I actually didn't mention talk about how to win the game, but there you go, you can get flags, you can put flags on the board by completing these gold cards. They have a discard ability at the bottom, which means if you've got one you don't need, you can discard it to either make a mountain easier or to help you climb the next mountain that you climb. So it's really good. You can get rid of these cards if you draw one you don't need, which is great. But looking at the negatives, we're going to start with those gold cards. I don't like these gold cards. You draw one, a lot of the time you could score it now, or you're never going to score it. For example, I drew one, it was like climb 4 mountains in North America, and that was like, well, I'm never going to do that before the end of the game. If I'd drawn the one that said climb 4 mountains in South America, I'd have got 2 flags for that because I would have already completed it. So I'm never really a fan of those gold cards that you get. One thing that I brought up during the game is you could fly around the world at the drop of a hat without penalties. So I could be in Europe and you could say, oh, I'm in Oceania, I'm going to climb this mountain. Does anyone want to come? I say, well, I've just travelled from South America to Europe. But yeah, sure, I'll be there in a bit. I'll come down to Oceania to climb a mountain with you. That seemed a bit weird and it seemed to be at odds with the highly thematic game based around that. That was the only downside to the theme I could see, was that you would just seem to be this, I just imagine this trust fund daredevil that just like loved mountain climbing and just had no job but just had infinite money, could just travel around the world and just climb mountains at will. But yeah, that was the only downside to the theme to me. Another thing that I spotted, I don't know because obviously I haven't played it a lot, but I was last by a long way, but I had climbed more mountains than the person that won the game. So I don't know how that happened. I think they just helped or jumped on board when other people were climbing to get that second reward. When that secondary reward had a flag in it, then they were just jumping on and going and getting that flag on the board rather than climbing their own mountains. So I mean, I'd have to play it a lot more to see if that's an actual negative or just a thing that happened in this game, but it's a thing that happened and a thing worth mentioning, I think. And finally, I was left behind a bit, so I wasn't jumping on, I wasn't going like, oh yeah, you're climbing in North America, well I want to climb this one in South America, so I'm not going to just jump to North America because I'll have to spend my turn travelling back down to South America again if I want to climb this mountain that I can climb and get points for. So I won't do that, and then because I didn't jump on, I didn't gain the experience, it meant that when the deck of A mountains switched over to the deck of B mountains, which happens at some point in the game that I can't remember, I was not prepared for the B mountains. I was so far behind at this point, and I was kind of left behind. And you could still draw A mountains, but you're drawing a blind off the top of the deck, so you don't know if you're going to get one that you can even climb anyway. I didn't know if I was going to get one that was going to be worth many points to me. But yeah, I felt like I got left behind a little bit. But overall, it is a good, fun game, a very good medium weight Euro. It's one of those that you could easily put on your shelf and bring out in rotation with other medium weight Euros. I think it's thematic play, and it's specifically for me, which is a big thing for me, is ease of teaching. When a game is easy to explain, and again, it's easy to explain because of the theme that you can bring into the teach, and the fact that those three actions are very simple but expand as the game goes on, makes the game easy to teach, makes this a very fun one to get. So, what do you think of Peaks? Let me know in the comments below. Is this something you're going to be backing? Is this something you're going to want to play? Are you a mountain climber? Do you need more than a sandwich to climb K2? Let me know. And thanks for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'll be doing a video every week. Top 10 first Monday of the month, how to play third Monday of the month, and review the second and fourth Mondays of the month, with the fifth Monday off, a nice little week off. I've been Rob, aka JestaThaRogue. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.